Hi everyone, my name is Kim. We're going to continue talking about the types and what grips and loops they fall into when they're under stress. I had made a video about the SFPs and their grips and the loops they fall into when they're under stress. Now we're going to talk about the INTJ'S, and we're going to talk about what they're like when they're stressed out, what their loops and grips are. So INTJs, they are theoretical. They are one of the most independent personality type out of all 16 types. They are visionaries. They have introverted intuition. So they're making sure that they are on the right path and that they're meeting their goals that they want to do down in the future. INTJs are known for creating systems. So they're innovative in that way. Okay, so let's get into their loops. So their loop is the NIFI loop. And so when they're in this, they become even more introverted, introspective. They focus more on their internal vision. So when they're doing that, they're not putting their vision out in the world. They're just in it, and it's like they're just, fantasizing about it, or they're daydreaming about it. They have all these ideas, or insights, and they're not putting them out. When they're in this loop, they're not using TE. TE is all about efficiency and putting their ideas out in the world, which generally they have no problem doing that. But when they're in the grip, when they're in the grip, it makes it hard for them to put their ideas out, to have them implemented, because they're not using TE, okay, and they are also not using SE, okay. So SE gives data to introverted intuition, generally for INTJs. So they don't even have SE either. So they're just relying solely on introverted intuition and introverted feeling. So they become more withdrawn. They are not, focusing on, getting stuff done, implementing their ideas. It almost seems, because they're not using their TE and SE, it almost seems like they are an idealist, type of personality type. It's almost like they're INFJs. Because INFJs have NI too, and they're visionaries too. So yeah, when INTJs are in this loop, the NIFI loop, they can seem like an INFJ. To me, that's what I think. Because INFJs, they're idealists. So when an INTJ is in the NIFI loop, they can almost seem like they're idealist, because they're not using TE. They're not getting things done. They're not, for ideas. They're not looking at their ideas in terms of, okay, is it applicable? if it is applicable, they will implement it, their ideas or concepts. They will implement it down the road. And too focused, on their internal vision. So they have, excuse me, so they have a vision of how they want things to look like for them in their life down the road. That's all fine, but there is no TE. They're not thinking about TE, to implement their ideas, to be that visionary. TE needs to be there to get things done, to get their ideas out in the outer world. They don't have SE. SE is what gives them data. For NI. So they're not using SE either. And SE helps INTJs to be more grounded, because SE is a very grounded, impactful function. So they're not using SE. So their feet are not firmly planted on the ground, or just being more present. Yeah, SE is actually about being more present too. But when they're not using it, so they're, the internal vision, so they're daydreaming, their mind is drifting off, in la la land, or theory land, or visionary land, just thinking of ideas and thinking of visions, but not doing something about it, not TE implementing this vision or their ideas and concepts out in the world. Okay, so that is INTJ's loop. Now, when they're under a lot of stress, they're going to go into the SE grip. So the SE grip, they're going to be more extroverted. They're going to be more involved with the sensory, especially with the sensory that to do with getting into the SE indulgence. So they start to indulge themselves. Okay, whether that would be, constantly going out and overloading themselves with sensory details, sensory activities. So say for instance, an INTJ goes to a bar when in the grip. Just goes to a bar and just wants to enjoy the music and dancing and maybe have a drink or something. Or they start to maybe talk to someone, have a good, conversation at this bar. Now, normally, INTJs don't go to bars. They're just not that type. But when they're in the SE grip, they're looking for SE indulgences. They can overindulge in food. They can overindulge with entertainment. They can overindulge they can become, as if they are like an SE Dom, really extroverted, taking risks, being thrill seekers. Normally INTJs are not that way. They are not SE Doms. But when they're in the SE grip, this is what happens. They are the total opposite of who they are. a private, introverted, intuitive, thinking, personality, so they when they're in this grip, they can look like an SE Dom, doing all the things that SE Doms, this is what they do. This is how they keep their life interesting. But INTJs, generally, they don't go to bars and talk to people they don't know. And they don't overindulge in food or other sensory things or activities. They are, the SE is last for them. SE's like an anchor. It helps them to be present, because they have NI, and NI is, it's a whole different world the INTJ is in when they're in NI, and when they're in SE, they're not thinking about their values, their FI values. When they're doing these SE activities and indulgences, they're not thinking about their values. They're so focused on being in the moment, and doing all these SE things, that normally wouldn't do. It's too extreme. So that is the SE grip. All right, my time is over, and I hope that this video, you'll get something out of it, and I hope you have a good rest of the evening, and I'm going to say goodbye.